Planet Vero Studio is powered by the Nolan Group of eXp Realty. MyNextHomeFinder.com.
Treasure Coast Connector. Connecting residents and businesses of the Treasure Coast. And here's your host, Ellen Contreras.
Welcome to Treasure Coast Connector. I'm your host, Ellen Contreras. My company by the same name is one of the show's sponsors, and we help business owners to promote their products and services in the marketplace. And we do this through social media marketing, lead generation, video production, advertising, PR. All the details are on my website, www.tcconnector.com, or call 772-925-4557. Treasure Coast Connector, the show, puts a spotlight on local business owners. Everyone has an interesting story of why they do what they do. And when we learn about them and do business locally, it strengthens the local economy. So this is the time of year. The new year is upon us. We take stock of ourselves and we set goals. And whether you're on a personal journey of development or you're a business owner and you're looking to develop your team and get leadership skills for your team, this episode is for you. Joining me in the studio today is Margo Montgomery, and she is an executive and personal life coach. She is a former university professor, human resources executive. She has a lot to share about her practice, Margo Montgomery Coaching. So welcome to the show.
Well, thank you, Ellen. I really appreciate you inviting me here today.
Yeah. Well, I'm so happy to have you here, especially after I got to see you speak at an event. I was like, oh, she needs to be here and tell everybody.
Well, thank you for recognizing that.
Yeah, absolutely. So before we talk about all that you do, give us a little bit about your background, because it's very impressive.
Well, what I would say about what I've done in my life, I've always been interested in the human experience. I love to know people. I love to understand their inner workings. And if when you look at my background, you can see that it all, even, my studies and the jobs that I've had have always been, connected with human relationship and, really, quite honestly, the thought processes of humans and why certain ones struggle and certain ones are more joyful.
I've always wondered why people do certain things, but we're not going to go on that tangent. But I'm flipping my notes around because also after I saw you speak, I went onto your website and I went to the About Me page. And I have to say that when people hear life coach, leadership coach, there's a spectrum of people with different educational levels. Okay. So I want people to understand that you have your bachelor's from Bucknell University. You have your MBA from NYU, New York University. Oh my goodness. That's like a school that's super hard to get into. You have your master's of education, the University of Vermont. You have coaching certifications from UCLA, Berkeley, the Science of Happiness, the Hendricks, I like that though, I have to say, that's why I hesitated, the Hendricks Institute, the Sedona Method, and the Conscious Leadership Group / Conscious Parenting. So you have spent years studying. You're like a lifelong learner type person.
I am a learner. I mean, I'm infinitely curious. And but really, most of my experience, what I value the most is when I work with people, because they teach me more than any of those degrees do.
Yes, absolutely. And so when someone comes to you and they, want to make an improvement on something, maybe they feel stuck or they have a problem that they want to overcome or a goal to achieve, I think it's important that we understand ourselves first. Right? And you do a lot for putting that foundation together. And there's an assessment that you like to use. So tell us about that.
Okay. Yeah. Well, first off, you need to understand that I work with people just like you and me. So I don't assume that there's anything wrong with you.
Oh, okay.
And we all all of us
Nobody
have
has
issues.
problems. We're all
Yeah, right. I mean, we all have issues. We're humans.
Yeah.
Humans are designed. We struggle.
Yeah.
And so, but we don't always have perspective on ourselves. So I've worked with the brightest and the best, and they don't see the water that they swim in, and they're very insightful about others. But when they start talking about themselves, it's actually pretty funny. They don't see things about themselves. They don't see their capacities. They don't see their limiting beliefs. And yes, I do use some powerful tools, and one of the most powerful tools I use is the Enneagram, which is a personality mapping system. And it's like if you're familiar with Myers-Briggs or DISC or any of those.
I've taken those assessments. Oh, yeah.
Okay. So now what I want to say about this one, because I'm, partial to this one, is it brings in, it doesn't just say what your patterns of thought, your patterns of feeling, your instinctual knowing, which is all great, but it tells you basically how your ego, so this is your personality, because I use those two words synonymously, how it was formed early in your life. And then, okay, now that I know these patterns, what do I do now? Like, where's my greatest growth? So it gives you, okay, what do I do now? So I think that, and also the Enneagram, it brings in modern psychology, it brings in the body, the somatics, and it also brings in spirituality, which you can, look at it as God or Mother Earth or the universe, but it's just really a belief that there's something bigger than you at work. Okay. So it brings in the totality of what it means to be human. And there's 9 types, and it is a categorization system. So it doesn't define the unique person you are. Okay. But it does tell you your patterns. Yeah. Because, we're patterned species, just like all animals and plants outside. If you look out your window, I mean, the tides come in and out, the birds, migrate, and the flowers come out in the spring. Well, you have patterns. Yes. Like when you go to the grocery store, is most of what you buy the same things? Yeah. Sometimes I get cravings. Thankfully, my husband will say, thankfully, I do the food shopping. But every now and then I sneak out. When I go to Publix, it's to buy the fun stuff. Okay. Well, that's your pattern, maybe. Yeah, that is true. I go out and get the snacks and, the fun things. And my husband makes sure that there's coffee and milk and eggs and stuff. So. Well, it was a pretty rude awakening for me when I went to the grocery store and I learned like 85% of what I buy is all the same stuff. Yeah. But, again, I'll ask you another question. Have you ever sat across from somebody and said, what's with them? Why do they not think like me? Oh, yeah. I actually, I if it's somebody that I can joke with, I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't know you were a weirdo. Okay. Don't think like me. All right. Well, there's 8 other types that think nothing like you. Oh, yeah. And they have different energies than you. Is what you're saying. Yeah. Oh, that's funny. And so it's a great tool for relationships too, to understand other people. So it's very useful in the business world in terms of teams. Yeah. And I don't even know how you stay married without knowing it. Oh, okay. Okay, yeah. So, that's true. Your patterns, just your patterns can clash just because of the structure. Yeah. It's actually the source of your recycled arguments. And then there's things that just you pull together with other people because you think the same way or you have the same energies. So it's a very useful tool. No, that is good. Although my husband does say happy wife, happy life, and he just moves on, which he doesn't argue with me. It's really, he watches the show. I'm in trouble when I get home, just so that was not funny. So now when you're working with individuals, and I saw this on your website, you mentioned that you help them focus on 3 centers of intelligence. So what is that about? Okay, well, this also comes from the Enneagram. Okay. And there's 3 centers of intelligence. Our intellect, of course, which has been nurtured in our school systems and is a superpower. Okay. But we also have wisdom in our hearts, our feeling centers, and in that gut knowing, know, that part of you that no data supports it, but you just know.
Yeah.
Okay. So we all lead with one of those.
Mm-hmm.
But for an effective leader, or for the most effective decisions that you can make in your life, to bring all those capacities online is helpful. It gives you a broader look of reality. You see reality more clearly.
Mm-hmm.
So I help people develop those capacities that are underutilized, as well as seeing their superpower of whichever one they lead with.
Sure, and how it all ties together. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Can I give you an example?
Yes, please,
Okay.
please.
So, most of us have learned to shut our feelings down when we were early.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Missy, I'll show you what anger is.
Yeah, I'll give you a reason to cry.
Yeah, exactly.
I only heard that once in my childhood.
Okay.
Or twice.
Okay, well, did you hear, oh, you're fine. Don't worry. Just pick yourself up. You're fine. Yeah, you're going to be
Put on
fine.
some lipstick, powder your nose. You'll be okay.
Yeah, you're going to be fine. Well, feelings, we've been taught mostly that they're too big and we need to manage them. And a lot of people have learned to avoid their feelings or suppress them, and they get stuck in our bodies, quite honestly.
And it creates stress, which
it creates
illness.
stress. And, for instance, I won't go through all the feelings, but like anger. I mean, anger is held for most people in the jaw and or like our shoulders, like an animal gets their hackles up like this. And animals shrug them off, but we, particularly for women, it's not always appropriate to be angry. Excuse me.
Yeah.
So we push it down. And then a lot of times it comes out inappropriately at a time that we would prefer it not to. And it can get in the way of jobs or relationships. So anger is wisdom when you can access the wisdom.
Yeah, and channel it properly. So you know what we're going to do, because I want to, I think this is a great place to take a break, because there's another thing that I wanted to talk about in terms of the workplace environment. So we have a lot more to discuss, Margo, Montgomery, and I. So stay tuned. Treasure Coast Connector will be right back.
Right now at Sunshine Furniture, it's holiday sale time. They are clearing out their warehouses to make room for new furniture styles, and this means you can save on selected styles from Lloyd Flanders, Beechcraft, Windward, Riverside, Universal, Caprice, Four Seasons, and more. Sofas, dining sets, patio groups, occasional chairs, cabinets, bedroom sets, and occasional tables. There are lots of pieces on sale from inside and out, just in time to make Santa say ho ho ho. Sunshine Furniture has the largest selection of coastal furniture anywhere, including a gallery of Tommy Bahama Home and a Universal Coastal Living collections. Visit Sunshine Furniture now for their holiday sale. And right now, all pictures, lamps, and accessories are half price. Sunshine Furniture, $12.95 US 1 in Vero Beach. Online at sunshinefurniturecasual.com. And don't forget to shop their outlet and sell store just across the street.
Sunshine Furniture.
Not crypto coins, not penny stocks. The best tool to build wealth is still real estate. I'm Chris Nolan of the Nolan Group of eXp Realty. Invest today and allow your real estate to provide a future for your family tomorrow. We'll show you the way. Visit mynexthomefinder.com.
Hi, this is Julie Lilliquist. From all of us at Evergreen Media and Planet Vero, thank you for your support in the last year. We wish you a wonderful holiday season and a joyful new year.
If you are Medicare or Medicaid eligible, wouldn't you love cashback benefits with a zero premium? Hi, I'm Bob Larson with A Better Solution Insurance, your local agency for Florida Blue. We'll make it so you're not paying for your insurance and you're getting cash back. What a deal. There's no money coming out of your pocket. Call A Better Solution Insurance.
Call 257-8600. A Better Solution Insurance. We have a solution for you.
Welcome back to Treasure Coast Connector. I'm your host, Ellen Contreras. I've been speaking with Margo Montgomery, and she's an executive and personal life coach. Your practice, Margo Montgomery Coaching. And I forgot to mention that you are here in Vero Beach, but you also are in Chicago. So
Yes.
you live and work out of both places, and I'm sure that you cover an even greater area than that. But you know what I wanted to do, and I forgot to mention this on the break. In the first half, I wanted you to mention your contact information. You're going to do it twice. So you'll do it now. You'll do it at the end.
Thank you.
Mhm.
So if you're interested in my website, it's margomontgomerycoaching.com. And if you would like to contact me directly, I appreciate you sending me an email. And it's mmontgomery, so it's MMONTGOMERY 425@gmail.com.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm happy to have a brief conversation about what coaching could look like and what it might mean for you.
And MargoMontgomery.com, MARGO MontgomeryCoaching.com. Just because there's a few different ways to spell
Yeah.
Margo.
Margo Montgomery.
Yeah.
Coaching.com.
Very
Yes.
good. Okay, so now what I'd like to do, we spoke about, like, you work with individuals, you work with couples, but we spoke about the workplace. We hinted on workplace and leadership. We have a lot of people moving into the Treasure Coast, a lot of people moving into Indian River County alone, and a lot of businesses that are small are growing. They are expanding. There's a lot of new business owners that want to hire, and it gets tricky for them for leadership and getting people to communicate. And you're a former HR executive. So how does this play into what you do?
Yeah, this is a specialty. It's a whole new world out there. And quite honestly, I teach a conscious leadership model. It's a very simplistic model. It's a line. In any moment, you are conscious or you're not. And being below the line looks like a way of being that's I'm right. Like, I'm right about this.
Yeah.
And it's closed.
Yeah. That's not good for leadership.
Yes. And it's defensive.
Yeah.
And there's all kinds of drama and fear that is going on below the line. Being above the line, simplistically, is learning is more important than being right. You're open and you're curious.
Yeah.
And quite honestly, being above the line is the only place that you can have connection, collaboration, creativity, innovation. So what I do is, and I've used the work of Jim Dethmer, who wrote the 15 Commitments of Conscious Leadership, and he's also my mentor. And I use his model and his way to work with teams. And the first two commitments really are what's essential, which is candor. So just being authentic, because there's so much sludge in the work world about, I'm not really going to say what's the truth because what I have to say is negative and I don't want to be shot because
people are afraid.
Right.
Yeah.
And I want that next job. So I'm not going to help him look good. So, it's creating a safe container for people to have candor. And I have all kinds of tools and exercises that I promote safety and trust because it has to start from there.
Oh, yeah.
And then we do exercises so they can see what a way to express candor in a safe way. And then how to be responsible. How to be responsible for what you're responsible and when are you taking more responsibility than you should and less responsibility. So that's like a whole nother session here because I use the drama triangle and we go through that.
Yeah.
But, if you're going to win the labor war today, you need to have people engaged. They have to want to wake up and go to work.
Yeah.
And these kids, these millennials, they're if most businesses are top down and they're extrinsically motivated. So what people want to be engaged, even if their idea is not followed, they want to have their opinion be expressed.
Absolutely. So this is actually potentially a really good answer to this great resignation, quiet quitting kind of a thing. So I want to make sure we don't run out of time, because you do a lot in terms of, there's the one-on-ones, okay? But you also do special events and retreats.
Yes.
So I want you to let everyone know what it's like to work with you. What is the process in all of this?
Well, I want to share my favorite first. Okay. I do retreats, because I like people in the pickle jar.
Okay.
So I want, when you dip the pickle in, you just get a little flavor. But if you keep the pickle in the jar for a few days, it actually changes and transforms. So that's what I stand for.
Okay.
I stand for transformation. And so I love my 3-day retreats, but I am offering a 1-day retreat for the first time at the end of January. It's going to be 10 to 4 on the 28th. And it's going to be a small group, 8 to 10 people.
Yeah.
And then if I work with individuals, I work with them on a minimum of 3-month contract.
Okay.
Because again,
it takes time.
It takes time, and you have to be committed to it.
Okay.
And then I do all kinds of workshops. So like I do 1.5 to 2 hour, whole morning workshops that are sort of a taste of.
Okay.
Like a taste of the Enneagram, a taste of the consciousness model, a taste of different kind of topical things. So, I do workshops at country clubs. I do go to prep schools. I work with Gold Heart, Gold Heart.
Yes, and nonprofits and things like
I've been working with the Environmental Center on their team.
Okay.
So there's no, humans are humans.
Yeah.
I don't care whether you're a stay-at-home person or you're a CEO. You're a human first.
Yeah.
And we forget and don't understand the capacities of that. And we're not taught about it when we're young.
Yeah. So now if a business owner, whether they have 5 employees or 50, if they want you to come into their environment for, let's say, a 3-day workshop, or would you do something like that? Or do you work with the business owner for a longer period of time with his group?
Well, I work with the business owner on what's appropriate for their particular team and their constraints. But what's required is that I do want to do it over time, because you're not going to change in 2 days.
Right. Okay.
So, that can look very differently. It can look like a retreat up front and, check-ins along the way, and then another retreat. So that's all up for grabs.
So it starts with a phone call and reaching out. So I just want to make sure it's Margo Montgomery Coaching.com. MargoMontgomery coaching Coaching.com. We have a bazillion iHeartRadio people and podcasters. We're on 8 different podcasts now. Planet Vero has expanded us. So for the people that are watching, on live stream and such, they get to see the graphic with the contact information, and it's mmontgomery425@gmail.com.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Very good. I just wanted to make sure that we got that out there. So now we have about a minute. How many minutes do we have? 5? We have 1 minute left.
1 minute.
I was going to negotiate for 5. She just won't have it. Cindy, show producer, she's amazing. But with 45 seconds, is there something else that you would like to say that we haven't touched on?
Yeah, I know that everybody can experience more joy and more intimacy in their life. And this isn't a dress rehearsal. This is it. So how do you want to do it? And you can't do it by yourself, because you don't see your own thing.
Yeah. That is very, very true. And I just know that there are people that are just, sick and tired. They feel like they're in a rut with their life in general. Maybe things aren't so bad, but they just want to take it to that next level. And I see that also with business owners as well. You're only as good as your team. So, and I see you helping them in so many ways. So I wanted to say thank you so very much for being on the show, because this is the time of year that we think about what our next year is going to look like. So this was like perfect timing. I hope you come back to like drill down into just one of the different areas that you practice in. For those that are listening and watching, my name is Ellen Contreras, host of Treasure Coast Connector. I hope you have a safe, wonderful, productive week. Until next week, I miss you already.